What's going on, everyone? So, Rob Pelinka and the Los Angeles Lakers have their work cut out for them this offseason. Obviously, they got to find a coach, but beyond that, they need to put together a comfortable roster that can compete with the best of them and hopefully go try to win an NBA championship. Now, the Lakers kind of going big game hunting. You hear, Donovan Mitchell, Trae Young, DeJounte Murray, right? I'm sure that there's going to be other names and stars and stuff that maybe there's murmurs of that the Lakers will be linked to because that's just usually how it goes. But one of the big hurdles is, the Laker tags, right? Like, there's very few teams that want to trade with the Lakers. There's very few teams that, even if they are willing to trade with the Lakers, they kind of want a little more. Like, no team wants to be the team that, basically trades and hands the Lakers another NBA championship, right? So Rob Pelinka's got to try to navigate and get through just the trenches in order to find the quality deals. Now, again, it kind of boils down to, like, what do players want? What are the circumstances and how things play out? But there's two teams in particular that reports have came out that basically aren't interested in trading with the Lakers. So the first one is the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, Dan Gilbert, he has a history with the Lakers. He is a guy that was crying and, whining and pouting because of the Chris Paul thing. He's one of the big factors in the veto of the Chris Paul trade. He also is somebody that whined and cried and, wrote a letter and, threw a big temper tantrum when LeBron ended up leaving, right? And it's like, but when LeBron came back and you had Kyrie and you were able to go get Kevin Love and you were able to build this super team in order to win a championship, all of a sudden, all the super team talk, all the crying that you were doing, it didn't matter when it pertained to you, right? So you get these people that are just big crybabies, they're big whiners, right? And so supposedly Dan Gilbert, he doesn't want to, help LeBron. He doesn't want to help the Lakers. And, there was reports that basically there's no chance that they would trade Donovan Mitchell to him. Now, here's the thing in regards to Donovan Mitchell. Now, I've always said it's a long shot for us to get Donovan Mitchell. Is it possible? Sure. Right? Even with this report, do I believe that Dan Gilbert doesn't really want to trade with the Lakers? Sure. I could understand that. You got LeBron, you got the Lakers, his history with both. I could see that being the case. But to me, it's always boiled down to what does Donovan Mitchell want? If Donovan Mitchell is open to several teams, then the Lakers are probably not going to land him, right? But there are talks that it's kind of the Knicks or the Lakers. That basically if the Knicks don't want Donovan Mitchell, then he's going to push his way to the Lakers. Now, will that happen? I don't know. We'll see. But if he's like, hey, I'm going to Lakers, I only want to go to Lakers, basically do what Anthony Davis did, right? Anthony Davis was in the same situation that Donovan Mitchell was, right? And teams wanted to trade for Anthony Davis. I mean, the Boston Celtics were one of those teams. And Anthony Davis and his agent and everybody basically just kept telling everybody, like, hey, you can trade for me. I can't stop you from trading for me. But just know that as soon as you're done trading for me and the season's over, that's it, I'm gone. So trade for me if you want. I'll play for you for the year. But then once that year's up, I'm heading to the Lakers. So if Donovan Mitchell does that same thing, then the same thing that happened with Anthony Davis is going to happen, right? Which Donovan Mitchell will land with the Lakers because no teams are going to want to give up a bunch of assets and draft picks and players and all this stuff just to take Donovan Mitchell for a year. And that's Donovan Mitchell. It's not Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis at the time was looked at, top 5 player, right? Like the guy was looked at as he could be ridiculous, right? He could be the difference in you winning or losing a championship. Where Donovan Mitchell, I think there's very few teams that are looking and going, oh, he's the guy that we need that's the missing piece over the hump. So Donovan Mitchell's market, I don't think is like entirely limited, but I don't think it's this like huge, vast market where like if Anthony Davis was available, I think most teams would be trying to go and acquire him if possible, right? But Donovan Mitchell, if he says like, hey, I'm only going to the Lakers, like what is Dan Gilbert going to do if nobody wants? He's just going to lose Donovan Mitchell for nothing? He's just going to say like, okay, fine, then you could just walk and then the Lakers could just figure out how to get him, right? So now you basically let him go where he wants to go and you got nothing out of it. Right now, don't get me wrong, Dan Gilbert is a guy that seems very prideful, very, stubborn and vindictive in a way, right? I mean, look at the letter and everything that he did with LeBron. But I don't think he's that foolish. But again, if Donovan Mitchell is like, hey, I don't mind the Heat, I don't mind the Nets, I don't mind this team, that team, and the other, right? Well, then all of a sudden, now I think, they're not going to trade him to the Lakers. I think it's silly if, a team, like if the Lakers gave the best package, right, and none are anywhere close, then I don't know why you wouldn't take it, right? Now, if, there's multiple, which there would be, but just speaking generally, but if there are a package in general that are, on par with the Lakers, let's say they're just slightly worse, right? Well, then I could see, Dan Gilbert going like, no, trade it to that team, right? You saw it with Kyrie, right? Lakers look all intent and purpose to land Kyrie, and Joe Tsai, the owner of the Nets, was like, we're not trading Kyrie where he wants to go. We'll take the lesser package. Took the lesser package from Dallas, and now look, Kyrie's in the conference finals with Luka, right? So I could see something along those lines, but Lakers give you the best package far and away because teams are hesitant that Donovan Mitchell might leave. Then it's bad. It's foolishness. It's bad business. Now you're going to lose him for nothing. And I'd feel that way about anybody. Like, remove the Lakers from the equation. If he was like, I don't want to trade him to the Knicks. Well, the Knicks give you the best package. Your job is to take the best package. Right? But then if you add in the Lakers, it's like, okay, well, they're also a West Coast team, so you don't even have to see Donovan Mitchell unless you guys make it to the finals, which the Cavs are probably not going to do anyway. Right? So that kind of thing. But the second team is the Chicago Bulls. Right? So there's reports that the Chicago Bulls basically don't want to help the Lakers because they don't want to run the risk of tarnishing Jordan's, history, right? Which I think is incredibly silly. Because, one, if you're Chicago and you believe Jordan is the greatest player that ever played the game, then there shouldn't be anything that would sway that. So you're telling me if you traded the Lakers, Alex Caruso or DeMar DeRozan or something like that, your belief in Michael Jordan is so frail, so fragile, that if LeBron won another championship or two, that you would believe that it ruins Jordan's legacy, like, as the greatest player ever. Like, it's just, that's such a silly thing to me. Like, again, and look, I've said this before. Me personally, I'm on record saying that I believe LeBron James, I believe LeBron is the greatest player to ever play the game. If you're just talking about a player standpoint, right? If you could build your own player, LeBron James is that guy, right? But here's the thing. It's all opinion-based, for one, and there's arguments to be made both ways. And at the end of the day, whichever side of the fence you're on, there's probably nothing that's going to ever change it, right? Like, all of the Jordan stands, LeBron could win the next 5 NBA championships straight, literally, and have 9 rings. And guess what? They're still going to find reasons and arguments and this, that, and the other as to why LeBron is not the GOAT, right? Like, it's how it goes. So, like, to me, the whole idea of, we're not going to trade with the Lakers, because also the other thing, and the reason why I think, like, the Cavs situation, okay, I can kind of see that. The Bulls situation doesn't make any sense to me because, one, Chicago was willing to make trades with the Lakers this past trade deadline. There's a lot of talks about Zach LaVine and stuff, and they were open to that. Now, granted, they really want to get Zach LaVine off their books, so maybe they were just like, if the Lakers are dumb enough to take him, then sure, which I don't think it would. Well, I mean, now that we know he ended up having to have surgery, but at the time when it was originally being talked about, it actually did make a ton of sense for the Lakers, and I do believe would have made the Lakers better had LaVine stayed healthy. But, again, it's just, are the Lakers and Alex Caruso away from winning a championship? Probably not, right? They need Caruso plus a couple pieces. Even if you traded them, let's say Caruso and DeMar, right? You worked out some sign and trade in that regard, right? Again, they'd still need a little more. Right? I definitely think it would put them in the right direction, but I don't think Chicago has a deal. Now, if they just gave us, right, let's say they traded Alex Caruso and DeMar DeRozan and just basically were like, hey, match salaries and throw us a second round pick, then yeah, it's like, okay, well, you just got fleeced and you look silly. But if it's a fair trade and it's a trade that makes sense for all parties, like, I don't think anyone's going to be like, oh man, Chicago, they just ruined Jordan's legacy. Like, it's silly. Like, that is completely silly. But again, it ties into, the LeBron James and organizations not wanting to help LeBron. And then on top of that, you got the Lakers and the Lakers tax. And, Lakers tax is a real thing. Like, a lot of people try to pretend like it's not. It clearly is. I mean, Rob Pelinka said as much, right? Like, there was all these deals that were being done and they were charging us more than other teams, right? Like, you can get a guy for 2 seconds. It costs the Lakers 4, or a first or something, right? Because again, no team, the Lakers have had a history of getting those fleece level deals or getting those crazy, and just turning around and winning, right? I mean, Pau Gasol, they absolutely fleeced the Memphis. I mean, in hindsight, it kind of balanced out, but I mean, the Lakers still won the trade because they won a championship. They won 2 of them, right? But it's like, Lakers go and get Pau Gasol and they're immediately in the finals. And then they follow that up with winning 2, right? And then, you look at Anthony Davis, right? New Orleans trades Anthony Davis. Immediately, they win a championship, right? You just keep going back through history with Shaq and Kareem and so on and so forth. Like, Lakers just seem to get their guy, and then all of a sudden they're winning a championship. And it's like, teams don't want to be that team that, like, got fleeced by the Lakers, and then on top of that, the Lakers won a championship, right? So teams are trying to, like, okay, well, if we're gonna make sure we don't get fleeced, we're just gonna charge the Lakers more than anyone else, because Lakers won the championship, everyone's gonna blame us for being that organization that did that, right? And I'm sure it's not just the Bulls and the Cavs. I'm sure there's several teams in the association that are, like, hey, like, Lakers are the last team we want to trade with, right? It's just how it goes, how it works. And it's unfortunate, but it's the reality, right? So Rob Pelinka's got to navigate that and figure it out. And look, there's plenty of teams out there that would be willing to trade and negotiate. And, if a deal's there that makes sense for all parties, I believe it gets done. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you think that these teams, they don't want to make a trade? Again, the Cavs one, okay, I get. The Bulls one, not so much. Like, the Bulls one it's silly to me. Like, it just sounds like almost made up, right? Like Chicago really is that fragile. Like, Dan Gilbert has proven he is that fragile. Dan Gilbert has proven that he's that petty, that he's that emotional and a crybaby. But the Bulls, like, you're really that concerned with Jordan's legacy? Like, okay, so then you're not that high on him being the greatest player ever, period. Right? If you're worried that, we trade Alex Caruso to the Lakers and now LeBron wins a ring, like, okay, it's just, that kind of sounds silly to me. But again, love to hear your thoughts and opinions, however you feel, down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos and truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.